Good morning, class of 2026. My name is Miss Richter. I am one of your school counselors here at the high school. And as crazy as it sounds, I am going to walk you through what it will look like to schedule for your final year. So pretty shortly, you will be referred to as our senior class. So, as crazy as that is, we do need to make sure that we've got you in the right classes for next year. So I'm going to help you figure out how to do that in this presentation. As a reminder, we have 3 school counselors that are going to be your main point of contact for this scheduling process. We are divided by last name, so if your last name falls A to F, you are going to be reaching out to Miss Leiden. If your last name is G to M, you will be with Mrs. Hartley. And then if you are N to Z, you get me. So you have Miss Richter, and we make up your counseling team here at the high school for scheduling. So I know we go over graduation requirements every year. It feels kind of like a broken record at this point, but it is extra important that we make sure you have these because it is our hope that in a year and a couple months that you are walking across the stage to get a diploma. So we want to make sure that you have what you need by the state of Ohio standards in order to do that. So quickly, I'm going to run through them with you. You need 4 credits of English. You need 4 credits of math. That has to include Algebra 2 or an equivalent course to Algebra 2. So that could be data science or AQR, as well as 1 advanced math class. If you are a junior that is sitting in homeroom right now and you already have 4 credits, I would not recommend you stop there. So you would be one of the students that takes an additional and has 5. You need a minimum of 3 credits of science. That is made up of bio, physical science, or chemistry, and an advanced science. 3 credits of a social science. That must include 1 credit of world history, American history, and American government. 1 credit of fine art, half a credit of health, half a credit of PE or a PE waiver. We'll talk about that. And then a minimum of 5 credits of electives. Most of you will graduate with far more than this, but this is the minimum that we want to make sure that you have. So the course selection guide, before we get into actually registering for classes and picking what you would like, I'm going to kind of point out a couple different resources that you have. The course selection guide is kind of a one-stop shop, so you will get access to this presentation, and anywhere you see a link, you can click on it and it will take you directly to whatever that slide is talking about. So this will be the course selection guide. So in the course selection guide, you will find things like graduation requirements. You'll find the honors diploma information. You'll find planning worksheets as well as course descriptions, making sure that you pay attention to those prereqs. So if you send me an email and it says, "Hey, Miss Richter, what is pop culture? What's that about?" I will happily email you back, but I'm going to email you back with a link to the course selection guide because that is where you will find that information. So just making sure that we are utilizing our resources before reaching out to our school counselor. So the course selection guide is a great place to do that. The honors diploma. This can be a little bit of a tricky process as far as making sure that you have all of the required components. Again, on this slide, there is a link to the Ohio Department of Education's website for you to walk through this and kind of mark off that you have what you need. On the right-hand side, you will see students must meet all but one of the following criteria. So I'm going to read all of the requirements, and then if you're like, yeah, I'm not going to meet that requirement, that would be the one you would cross off, and you would know that you need to meet the rest of them. So for math, you need your fourth math must be greater than Algebra 2. So if your plan is to be in Algebra 2 or the equivalent to Algebra 2 as a senior, this would be the one that you would not meet. Science, you need 1 additional unit, so you would take 4 years of science. Same goes for social studies. You would need an additional unit of social studies, so you would have 4. World language, You need 3 sequential units of one language, meaning I took Spanish 1, 2, and 3, or I took 2 sequential units of 2 different languages. So I took Spanish 1 and 2, decided to switch to German as a sophomore, and took German 1 and 2 sophomore and junior year. So I would have Spanish 1 and 2, and then I would have German 1 and 2. GPA needs to be a minimum of a 3.5 on a 4.0 scale. Your ACT needs to be a 27 or higher. Most of you will not take the SAT, but if you do, your score would need to be a 1280 or higher. That is either or. For the SEAL requirement, many of you will see on your transcript right now that you have the science SEAL. You would need 1 additional SEAL on top of that science SEAL in order to meet the requirement for this. The honors diploma SEAL does not count as one of those 2. And then an experiential learning would be field experience, Ohio Means Jobs, readiness SEAL, work-based learning. If you plan on signing up for a work study as a senior, meaning you are going to work for one of your bells and get hours, a minimum of 60 hours per semester, that would be your field experience, and you also can receive the Ohio Means Jobs seal by doing so. So just keep that in mind. Again, the honors diploma has multiple different parts, so I want to make sure that if this is important to you or your family, that this is something that you're looking into now. This is not something that you want to wait till winter break of your senior year and make sure you meet all of those requirements. You want to be looking at that now before you schedule for senior year. Required courses for 12th grade. You definitely are required to sign up for English 12. That can look like CP English 12, or that can look like AP Lang. For some of you, that might even look like CCP English, meaning that you're going to do College Credit Plus. Those are all options. Social science, remember, you've got to make 1 credit through world history, American history, and American government. Those are your 3. Science, you need bio and physical science or chemistry. And then in advanced science, I'll show you the math flow chart in a second. And I just want to point out, when you are choosing level of required classes, I want you to consider the following. I want you to consider your current success. So if you are somebody that maybe didn't sign up for an AP course as a junior because it made you nervous, but you realize, yeah, I could have done that, then you're going to maybe want to think about, what AP course do I want to take as a senior to challenge myself? If you feel like maybe you signed up for too many APs as a junior and maybe we need to go back a little bit, then we need to look through that. So it is important that you look at your current success. We want to make sure that you are challenged as a senior, but not over-challenged. We want you to have balance. You're a student, and we want to make sure you have time to be a student outside of the classroom as well. So please know that your senior schedule is still sent to colleges. It does matter. They will see what you are taking so that they can compare that to the past 3 years of classes you had signed up for. So we want to make sure that it's comparable to what you have been taking. We don't just want to take our foot off the pedal and hit the brake just yet. So we want to make sure that we're still continuing that momentum of challenging ourselves headed into senior year. This is that math flow chart on the previous slide. So if you were a freshman and you took Algebra 1, you most likely were a sophomore that took geometry. This year you are in Algebra 2 or the equivalent. And then next year you can kind of pinpoint what would be the next right thing for you to sign up for. It's important to talk to your current math teacher, and they will kind of guide you on that process. Those elective credits that we talked about in the graduation requirement slide can be made up of classes within the following areas. So I just kind of wanted to list those out for you. I'm not going to read them for you, but most of you already have these 5 elective credits, if not more. So PE class or a PE waiver. All students need half a credit of PE in order to meet the graduation requirement. The PE waiver is linked on this slide. We also have copies in the counseling office right by Mrs. Naylor's desk. She can point you in the right direction. Students who participate in the following activities may fill out a PE waiver instead of taking a PE class. That would be 2 seasons of a school-sponsored sport. Keyword, school-sponsored. So that would mean I signed up for track as a freshman, and I also then played football as a sophomore. I can combine those two. That's 2 separate seasons, and I can sign that PE waiver and turn it in. 2 seasons of marching band, 2 years of JROTC, and then you can mix and match some of this. So you could take 1 season of a sport and then a PE class in the building, and you could pair those together and make your PE requirement. If you are planning on turning in a PE waiver, it must be completed by the end of your junior year. No exceptions. So headed into summer, we need to know what seniors have not completed PE. If you have not completed PE and we do not have a PE waiver for you, we will put you in PE class as a senior. I just want to repeat that one more time so that you hear me. It has to be completed by the end of your junior year. So as you head into summer, if you do not have a PE waiver on file and you have not taken PE in the building, your counselor will put you into PE class. Health, I would say 99.9% of you have your health requirement. If you do not, this is something that you want to notify your school counselor of ASAP. If you do not, one of 2 options. You will take it online during summer school this summer, or you will be enrolled in the in-person health class during your senior year. Those are our only 2 options in order to get you that credit. Just as a reminder for AP courses, reminder that you are taking a college level course. You are preparing for an AP exam to potentially earn college credit at the end of that class. It is a increased workload, and just because you can take an AP class does not mean that you should. It is important to note that this is an area that maybe you want to look at, something you're interested in taking an AP level course for. So if you're really interested in English, maybe AP Lang is the right fit for you. If you do not like English and it is not something that really interests you or excites you, maybe English isn't the area where we pursue that AP level course. This is a course that is high expectation on being able to do work outside of the classroom. You have to be able to do a lot of problem solving on your own without being handheld. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about how many APs you're going to take, if any. Our AP presentation will be available online, or is already available online. And then the AP seminar info meeting will be during conferences on the 13th, as well as there is a CCP meeting, College Credit Plus meeting on that same night. So just for a couple tools for you to have, neither of these will be ever turned in, but they might be helpful for you to print off and use as you're starting to think through what do you want to take for senior year. On the left, you'll see there's the course selection worksheet. You have not done one of these since you were a freshman, but it might even be helpful to pull up so that you can see all of your options. On the right, it's just a notes page so that you can make sure that you are set up for success and that you're taking all of the classes you need for graduation. This just explains how you would fill out that form to make sure you have the right number of classes. You have done this before, you know how to do it. I'm not going to read this word for word, but this can better explain it and has videos if necessary. Since you are not turning in the worksheet, you don't necessarily need to put them on the piece of paper. But if you do not put alternate classes in when you go online to Power Schedule, your school counselor will pick your alternative classes for you. So I'm going to say that one more time. So if you go into Power Schedule and you do not pick any alternative classes, so any alternate class that you would be interested in, if you are missing a bell and we have a hole in your schedule and I do not have alternate classes to look at, I will pick an alternate class for you. So you know what you want to take more than I do or more than your school counselor does. So please, please, please make sure that you put alternate classes in there. Online scheduling is due by 2:30 on February 20th. So just some important dates today. We're looking at how to online schedule. We have parent-teacher conferences on the 13th. We then also have parent-teacher conferences on the 19th. On the 20th, we'll have an extended homeroom, and we will make sure that is when all of your options are due online. The appeal waiver is a process that you will go through if you would like to take a course that you were not recommended for, and those waivers are due on the 24th, and then March 3rd to the 14th, you will get to see your school counselor one-on-one during English class like you have in years past. Lastly, I just want to remind all of you, you have done this now for 2 years, so I think you know it, but please make sure that you're putting thought into the courses that you want to take. The only time to request a schedule change will take place the week before school begins. There will be an in-person and virtual opportunity to do that, but I need you to hear me once the school year starts. So in August of 25, when you come back as a senior on that first day of school, your schedule is final. We will not change any schedules past the first day of school. So as you're really thinking through what do I want to take, please, please, please put some thought into that. Because if you come back and say, well, I'm not interested in taking creative writing, well, you registered for creative writing in February of your junior year, so creative writing is what you're going to take. So please keep that in mind, guys. And then one last thing, just as a reminder again, who your school counselor is. If your last name is A to F, Mrs. Leiden, G to M, Mrs. Hartley, and N to Z, lucky you, you have me, Miss Richter. So, any questions, we are more than willing to help, and we are excited, guys, that you are entering into what is going to be your final year of high school. So, thanks for paying attention. If you have any questions, let us know.